Hi viewer, and welcome to this screencast on introductions and conclusions.
Introductions are something that students often find difficult and confusing, but every good essay must have an introduction.
Let's open your books to the introduction.
Gentlemen, open your text to page 21 of the introduction.
Let's rewind it to the beginning still with the proper introductions.
Seems that some proper introductions need to be made.
So I have made the introduction.
The introduction is a short paragraph that addresses the essay question and functions as a map of your discussion, showing the reader where the essay will go and what it will do. This is what the University of Melbourne has to say about introductions.
An introduction should tell your reader exactly what your paper is about and how it is structured. Academic essays are not like murder mysteries, where you only find out who the killer is on the last page. An academic essay should contain no surprises.
So what should an introduction include?
There are four basic elements to an introduction: an opening statement, a thesis statement, these might be the same, definitions if required, and an outline of the essay.
The introduction moves from the general to the specific, much like a funnel. The opening statement defines the general topic or area of study and may give some brief historical or contextual information that orients the reader. One problem at Trinity is that students sometimes waste this opening statement by making irrelevant or inaccurate statements such as "Shakespeare was the greatest writer who ever lived." It's much better to develop an opening statement by thinking about the concerns of your central argument.
For example, William Shakespeare's play A Midsummer Night's Dream is concerned with the irrationality of love. The thesis statement is a response to the essay topic on which you will write your essay. Your response to this topic will express a point of view. This point of view will be organised in terms of a main idea. So your thesis statement will be a concise summary of the point of view you intend to take on this main idea. A thesis statement may be 1 or 2 sentences long.
Remember that a thesis statement is never a question. It's also never a list. A thesis statement should not be vague or confrontational. It should be as clear and specific as possible, and it should have a definable, arguable claim as its main idea. The Harvard Essay Writing Guide puts it as follows.
After reading your thesis statement, the reader should think, "This essay is going to try to convince me of something. I'm not convinced yet, but I'm interested to see how I might be."
And now a word about definitions. Your essay may involve specific terms or concepts that need to be defined. These concepts will be central to your thesis, and defining them should follow smoothly from your thesis statement. Defining them here will give added depth or focus to your thesis statement.
The outline is the last part of your introduction. The outline provides an overview of how you will develop your argument by previewing the order in which you will present your main ideas. This should be brief, but it should include all the main ideas in the essay.
For example, your essay might state, "In order to develop this idea, the essay will first examine one issue, next it will consider another issue, finally it will discuss something else."
By doing this, the outline provides a map of the essay, showing the reader where the essay will go and what it will do. This is useful because your own ideas are sometimes much clearer to you than they are to someone else. This can mean that while the flow of your discussion seems straightforward to you, it can be difficult for another reader to follow. If you have provided a good outline in your introduction, then you have given the reader a map of the essay, and there is less chance they will become lost and fail to understand your central ideas, even if your writing becomes a little unclear at times.
So there you have it, the 4 basic elements of an introduction: an opening and background statement, a thesis statement, definitions, and an outline.
Before we leave you, here are some final tips for writing your introduction.
First, be concise. Don't pad out your essay with unnecessary detail.
Second, stick to the topic. Don't use the introduction to make vague statements that are not directly related to the topic.
And finally, be inclusive. Nothing should appear in the essay that isn't first signalled in the introduction.
Now that we've looked at introductions, what should a conclusion include?
In conclusion,
So I would come to the inescapable conclusion
I came to a different conclusion.
You made a conclusion.
And this is my conclusion.
In conclusion, I concluded long ago.
Students are often confused about the difference between the introduction and the conclusion.
This is because a key part of a conclusion is the thesis statement. However, the difference between an introduction and a conclusion is that in the introduction, the thesis statement is presented without any evidence.
By comparison, the conclusion comes after the main argument or interpretation is presented in the body paragraphs. It therefore provides you an opportunity to restate the thesis statement, but in the light of the evidence and main points that you have presented.
In other words, the conclusion gives you the opportunity to present a more detailed version of your thesis statement, drawing together the major parts of the argument and linking them together in terms of the thesis.
But remember, never introduce new ideas or information in a conclusion. If you wish to make a new point, it should be in a body paragraph.
Alright, that's all for this screencast on introductions and conclusions.
Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.